So we have a guest right now who's got a new book out, and he's a former Army medic. Reuben Doc Ryan is our guest right now from down at Fort Leonard Wood. Reuben, how are you?
Oh, great. Nice to talk to you, Mark. Thanks for having me on.
Well, absolutely, and I wish I only got the book today, so I haven't had much time to go through it, but as I was reading a couple of the chapters that you pointed out to me, The Toughest Man, I think, was one of them. The images that were going through my mind were from the movie Black Hawk Down. I mean, that's kind of sort of the scenario that you've set up in some of this. What motivated you to write the book?
Well, when I was growing up, my dad was a Vietnam vet. I was a military brat. He spent 21 years in. When he was born in 44, 4 of his older brothers and a sister were fighting in World War II. So I was surrounded by veterans, and I've always been interested in that kind of stuff, but none of them would talk about war. And I understand why. I lost a cousin in '69 in Binh Dinh. My dad was in theater at the same time. I understood why he'd only tell me some of the good memories, but I think, as I was becoming a teenager and getting ready to go in, I didn't have the full information, and it wouldn't have changed my opinion to go in. I love my country, I want to serve it, but I wanted to know more. And then once I got in, we had some Vietnam guys that were still active duty, and they would kind of tell us about it, and I think it helps prepare future soldiers and also the American public of what it's like over there, and give them an interesting take on it, and so they can understand, especially when veterans are angry or somebody might be complaining, about treatment or the VA or whatever, you can understand where that anger is coming from and what people have to go through, and especially if some guys got truly injured, why they would be angry.
Sure. So this is a memoir, right, of some of your experiences?
Yes. This was my deployment as a flight medic. I'd been on hundreds of missions. My job was to go after guys when they were having the worst day of their life. When the front leading edge of our American Spear got hurt, they would call us. Those guys, when they're injured, they don't just get in the truck and continue the mission or drive back to base. They have to call us in because we're so spread out. And so we see the worst of the worst every mission. And, I picked a handful that had an interesting story and wanted to bring it to light. And it, considering the subject matter, it's not a sleigh ride into depression or despair. This is more about love and hope and, some of the awesomeness of some of these guys that are wounded, what they do, the men and women that go after them, and everybody that answers that call. It's such a unique job in the military that it had to be told.
And, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of times you're having to go in and get these injured folks in the middle of what is still a war zone.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
a 360 war zone, yes. In a stripped-down Black Hawk, and we don't have door gunners or, Geneva Convention, we have to paint a red cross on the side of it and go in there. I have a pistol on me, and I have a rifle. That's only to protect me, my crew, and the patient on the ground. But otherwise, we can't just go blazing into an area, and a lot of times we have to go in without air support. And, the enemy waits for us.
Were there any close calls you could relate?
Oh, yes. We had one where one of our rocket blew up. It was a Iranian rocket, blew up under an aircraft flying over near Sadr City. And surprising, because Sadr City is just known for tolerance and peace and love. But, it blew up right underneath the aircraft and almost took out an entire crew. And, it's a strange world, and we've been in some unique situations in there, and that's what I definitely wanted to write about.
Well, for the chapter or two I've been able to brush through. It looks fascinating, and let me encourage people. I know you can get it on Amazon. Is that about the easiest place to go to find the book?
It is. The other distribution channels are being set up. Amazon and Kindle are the versions that are out right now, and you'll get it quick. And I think you'll have a good time, because if you don't have to be in the military. You don't ever have to serve to enjoy this book. You don't have to know anybody that's been in the military. I wrote it for the American people. I took out all the lingo, all the technical jargon. There's no maps to read. It is just an entertaining story. And I wanted to keep it like old school MASH before they got preachy.
That's
And,
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorites. The book is called Bones 1-0, Racing the Reaper in Iraq, and we're talking to Reuben Doc Ryan, who wrote that book. You can find it there on Amazon.com. And what we'll do is we're going to give away a copy of it for the holidays, and at 314 969-9797. We'll take caller number, let's pick caller number 7. 314-969-9797. We'll give you a copy of the book and a 97.1 gift pack that you can enjoy through the holidays. And this will be something good to snuggle up in front of the fire and read some interesting in-person examples of what our soldiers have gone through on the front lines over in this war in Iraq. But Reuben, thank you very much for your time.
I appreciate it, and I've got to say, though, the responses on this are amazing. When I can get a 70-year-old woman from Maine to send me an email, and that's the important thing. My email is on the last page of the book, so if you're reading it and you've got a question about something, email me immediately. I'll get back to you. That way you can really have a good interaction in the story.
That's awesome. You can go directly to the source just via email. That's great.
Yes.
Hey, Reuben, happy Thanksgiving to you. Thanks for joining us today.
All right. Take care. Thanks, Mark.
Yep. Thank you very much. Reuben Ryan, again, the book, Bones 1-0, Racing the Reaper in Iraq. So have we determined whether or not we're going to have to wait till after the weekend for them to pick the book up, whoever wins?
Yeah, they'll have to come up on Monday.
Yeah, we'll probably have to have you come back Monday and get this, whoever the winner is, because the office pretty much shuts down for the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. We're like the only ones here right now.